Hey guys, it's Abby with Sassafras Candles. I am doing another melt today. I'm taking a little bit of a break from Fruit Loops right now because I realized that I actually had a lot of skulls left over, so I wanted to finish up this melt. So what I'm doing with this, these are pre-made, as in I made them beforehand because they're going to be part of a wax melt that we make. It's called Coffee because murder is wrong. And here's what the final product looks like. It's so cute. I think this is my favorite looking one that I've made. But anyways, it has a couple different notes in it. One is like dulce de leche to like kind of add a creaminess to it. And then we have different notes of coffee. Like we have like fresh coffee and like hazelnut coffee blended in. So when you combine it all, it smells just like a Starbucks mixed drink. It smells so good. But yeah, so this is what it looks like, and we sell them in packs of 8, and it comes down to a like 6-ounce wax melt. What I really like about these cubes, which is what we try to use for our wax melts like these, like our more unique ones, because what's nice about the size is it is kind of big, but you can just throw it into your wax melter as is. You don't have to cut it or anything like that. So what I have going on right now is I have my wax melting just like I did for my Fruit Loops. I have my mold ready. So again, it is a timely process, just waiting for it to heat up to the right temperature. Again, we do 190, then I have to add my color right away to get it to absorb right away. So I'll go ahead and cut to that, and then I can show you the process. Alright, so I've got my colorant and fragrance oils mixed in the pour pot with the wax. I have the pour pot on my griddle to keep it warm. I have my dropper also warmed up on the griddle so that the wax doesn't cool inside the dropper. And you're going to notice I actually have like a cookie sheet here, or a baking tray, whatever. Typically what I do is if I have embeds such as I do with this one, I keep them here, and then once I fill this up enough, I'll put the embed in, work with that, and then once my melts are cool enough to pop out of here, I put them on the tray to continue cooling before we bag them. But I'll go ahead, get some wax in the dropper, and I can show you how we make it. So for this design, I usually like to do just one dropper full at a time and then go on to the next square. The reason being is the more wax you put in, because it is very hot, so the more you put in, the longer it takes to cool. So I try to do it layer by layer typically. Unfortunately, we do only have one of these molds right now. We are a very small business, so all of our money is basically spoken for as soon as we have a sale in terms of just going back into the shop. But if we continue to see an increased interest in these types of melts, I hope that we can invest in another one, because then I would be able to get a lot more done. Like for example, my Fruit Loops that I showed you guys earlier in the week. I think it took us a year to finally bite the bullet and invest in 2 more molds. So if using 3 molds took weeks, well, days, really it did take weeks when I was only down to 1. But anyways, it still takes me a really long time with the 3 molds, but imagine doing that with 1 and still the same amount of wax. It was such a process, but since our customers really like them and I had to keep making them, it made sense at that point to invest in more molds, because I'll be honest, like silicone molds aren't particularly cheap, especially the Fruit Loop ones, because what the manufacturers do is they literally make the solution for the mold and then use actual Fruit Loops or whatever they are trying to make the mold after. So I get it, it's a lot of work, but they are really expensive. But anyways, so that's why I only have 1 mold here. So I'm still just doing my 1 dropper full, and then we'll move on to the next one. You will notice I drop a lot. I'm kind of messy when it comes to manufacturing, and that's the reason why I don't make the candles. My mom does. She's a lot more clean than I am, and with melts, it's a little bit more okay to be a little bit messy. But somehow whenever I'm doing candles, I always make a huge mess. I'm still really messy, obviously. One thing that I have been thinking about is using this mold and doing like a white base and then putting my Fruit Loops that I showed you guys the other day and just like putting those in here to kind of make it look like a bowl of cereal. So if anyone's interested in that kind of melt, let me know. Okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit to see if I can get you guys to see a little bit better. But you can see up here it's starting to become more opaque. And down here it's still really clear. So I'm going to give this a little bit more time to cool. So I'm going to put my dropper back on the griddle to keep it warm. Probably going to turn down the temp a little bit to keep it warm. But anyways, I think I do this, I mean obviously every batch is different. That's the glory of handmade. It's just, you know, we go with what feels right in the moment. But I do believe the idea is to do 3 layers of this, put our skull in, and then do maybe a half layer to surround the skull and get it embedded in there. What I like about these melts when we do different fragrances, so this has the blend of dulce de leche, hazelnut, fresh coffee, etc. Our skulls are just dulce de leche. So I kind of like the idea of, depending on how you put your skull in your melter, you might get a burst more of dulce de leche if you place it face down in your wax melter, or if you just put it as you're going to see it, like put it in like this into your wax melter. This is going to melt down first, and then at the end you'll get a burst of dulce de leche. Okay, this is starting to cool down enough, so now I'm going to start my next layer. So again, just do a regular dropper amount. Putting this back on the griddle. All right, so it's not as prominent as it was after our first round of doing the dropper, but I'm still seeing some opaqueness around the edges. That means that it is cooling, but I am going to have to wait a little bit longer for this to cool down. Something that is really hard with making wax melts, like, or even just candles, like just waiting for the wax to cool or melt is just like watching grass grow, and it's probably like the most infuriating part of it, but it's really not even that bad. It's just me being impatient because I love seeing a good end result. So we'll let that sit for a little bit more. Okay, so this is starting to somewhat, I'm just trying to get some air to it to help it cool down a little bit more quickly. What I'm waiting for, and this is why I do it layer by layer, I'm waiting for this center to cool enough for me to place my skull in to see if it's at the right amount or not. I do think I probably should do like maybe a half a dropper full for the remaining to get it, because the problem is, and I'll get this. So you can see this is a very thin melt. This is a more thin embed than I usually work with. So, meaning I don't want to cover it up. So if I put it in here, you know what, let's try it. It might actually work out. So now I'm gonna suck up a dropper full. I'm definitely not gonna use a full dropper full, I don't think, but I'm gonna do it very slowly. Very slowly. I'm just gonna fill up my square. Whoops. You know what? I think that actually looks all right. So I'm not going to do 3 droppers. I'm just going to leave it at the 2, because this is the perfect amount, because now I've done enough where it's going to be stuck in there, but you can still see the skull details. So I'm going to go ahead, place my skulls. I'm going to try my best to center them, but I'm realizing I'm not really good at that either. Something that I really like that I'm not sure really will get caught in the video is the fine details of these skulls. They look so cool. I'm hoping on the website you'll be able to see them in better detail. Alright, so now I'm going to do my next layer of dropping. This does take a little bit more time because I tend to accidentally dribble on other skulls, so I'm trying really hard to avoid that. Okay, so now we have them all poured. Now the biggest thing is to wait for them to cool enough. So while this one looks like it's fully cooled, it's very warm yet. So what I'm going to do is let it sit for maybe 5 more minutes, and then I can start popping these out to put them into the tray to continue cooling, but at least I can continue working then. So I think what I'm going to do is keep up the process, and I'll cut out here and I will show you what the finished product looks like. All right, so I think you can see from that angle that I have the remainder of these still laid out. I still want them to cool a little bit more, but these ones were cool enough where I could bake them up so I could show you guys. So on the back is where you're going to find our label. Again, it's coffee because murder is wrong, so you definitely have to be a coffee lover for this fragrance. And then here's what the bags look like. So again, these are 8 cubes, and together it equals about a 6-ounce wax melt. Again, I don't know that you can really pick up the details of the skull. It's just really like intricate lines and details. They just look really pretty. Reminds me of like Day of the Dead kind of designs, like sugar skulls. But anyways, that's it. So if you want to see more of this, or if you want to see like a specific item being made, I can make sure to try and do a video of it next time we're fulfilling an order on it or restocking. But yeah, that's all I got. So I hope you guys had fun. Yeah, any comments at all on anything, please just let me know. All right, thanks guys. Bye.